Bob writes about it. Jim talks about it. But Chuck did something about it.
Foreman on a big hole across the 10. He's something else. He's out in touchdown land. He's something else, baby.
Now, here's longtime columnist Bob Sansevere, Fox 9's Jim Rich, and the great number 44,
Double 4.
Chuck Foreman.
Welcome to the JimBob Sports Jamboree with Vikings legend Chuck Foreman, Fox 9's Jim Rich, another legend, the superstar Mike Morris, and a legend in the window business, the window stores, Tyler Ganz. This show brought to you by the window store. He's been traveling the world, finding different types of windows throughout. What's the window? What are they? They have windows in Costa Rica? Or are you introducing windows to them for the first time?
All single pane. Yeah, we brought down double pane technology down there. It blew their mind. It was crazy.
I'll tell you what's crazy this week. All this Aaron Rodgers talk. The latest thing in midweek, we find out that Rodgers is not coming to the Vikings, but they may, keep their options open. Let me ask all of you, where are you on the Rodgers thing? Me personally, if you bring him in, you have to tell him, you know what, you are going to compete for the job. You'll probably beat out McCarthy, but if you do and you falter, we're taking you out, and we're not bringing any of your buddies in. You're going to play by our rules, not yours.
Well, his days of being able to do that are over.
I would hope so.
No, it is not.
They weren't last year.
Well, that was last year and the year. Well, actually, he did all that the year before, and then they all came in.
Well, Devontae Adams came in this past year.
Yeah, well, those days are over for him.
I would hope.
And I think our our head coach could handle him, but I can tell you what, he go to Pittsburgh, he definitely gonna be leaving that at the door.
Check that at the door.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin gonna let him know, hey, come on, let's go, but you can leave all that at the door.
That's right.
I mean, he's a great quarterback.
Great quarterback. We were just talking about it a little while ago, but I mean, it's a given that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but it's also given that he's become his own worst enemy. I feel that way.
I agree with that.
And I just really think that if you had the best version of Aaron Rodgers, that you knew you could get that guy still, you'd seriously want to contend a serious offer to him. You'd want to have him here already. If he was anything like what he's been before in the past when he was playing well, and his attitude was in check and all that other stuff was in check, you'd take him. But you can't. It's pretty safe to say he's not that guy anymore. So, JJ, we don't know anything about him at all.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all. He was a good college player, and that's it. Because he's got to put the helmet on. We don't want to see another Justin Fields act. We don't want to see another. You can name it. You can name a whole list. You can name a whole list of players.
Wait a minute.
But he didn't work out for 2 or 3 years.
But Justin Fields, when he was in Chicago, he had nothing around him. He had no offensive line. He had nothing. When he went to Pittsburgh, he ended up 4-2, and it was questionable with those losses that the defense let him down, not him.
Well, he was just picking that out as a name of quarterbacks that haven't. He's not assailing Justin Fields. He's just saying, how many quarterbacks have we seen? The Daniel Jones, the Sam Darnold 1.0, not the 2.0
situation.
Right. And so when you ask a rookie to step up and just do the job, you're asking a lot.
I think so.
I agree.
That's my thought.
The culture, though, that we wrecked, I feel, if Aaron Rodgers came here, right? His attitude will come over and shadow what we've built as a team. I do not want him here.
Well said. Because if you truly are trying to change that culture of accountability and all these other things, the O'Connell way and the positivity that they talk about all the time is turning whatever happens throughout the day is that he's got a positive thing to say about it to spin it. Aaron Rodgers, when he walks in the door, like Chuck said, if he doesn't check it at the door, you get that all day, every day from him, I think, now, if you got that player here. Now, I don't know what he was as an early Green Bay Packer, but it worked. I don't think he's that guy now.
But you see what's happening now is everybody's got their podcast. So the guy in Dallas got his, and every week during the season, he's throwing some jibber jabbers out there, and then they got to deal with that. And so I really feel like, during the season, that needs to be limited by the player. That has to be a sacrifice he needs to make during the season to make sure that he stays focused on the job at hand. That's to win championships. Not to throw out your opinion every week, and then every week you're dealing with that, and that's all you hear.
Right. Well, I mean, these guys are already millionaires. They don't need to do a podcast to make ends meet.
No.
Right?
Yeah, but you do an hour on that show that he does and gets $1 million, you're going to do it.
I know. Well, and that's where
pocket change.
That's where this is going to go off the rails. He may say everything now to O'Connell and say, "Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'll be fine. I'll be fine." And then you'll have Pat McAfee ask him after JJ throws 2 touchdowns, but he throws a pick at the end of the game. Vikings lose. Well, Aaron, you would have made that throw, right? And he's going to take that bait. He's not spitting that hook out. He's going to grab that whole thing and run with it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm. Well, see, that's what comes with that. Do you want that?
Right.
Because he's going to be in position. I hear you say $1 million. He's not getting $1 million.
Yeah,
Yes, he's getting $1 million to be on Pat McAfee's show.
To be on the show for the whole season.
Correct.
Oh,
I thought it was a week.
I thought you said a week.
Well, no, it's not $1 million.
I would look into that one.
That's what I thought you meant.
All right.
He's not going to do it for chump change, 100,000 or 50,000 a week. For him, that's chump change.
Yeah, but he loves the spotlight. That's why he is letting this play out like he has. He wants to turn on the TV every time on ESPN. Oh, Aaron Rodgers is on the monitor. And he goes, perfect.
You know
and
what?
then he walks away.
Here's what I find interesting. Bill Belichick, greatest coach ever, a lot of people would argue. Both he and Aaron Rodgers have become toxic in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wanted Belichick because when he comes in, it's his way and that's it. And really with Rodgers, you got to look at what he did to the Jets. He basically cost the coach and the GM their jobs, and he called the shots. Nobody wants to have that. And, this is, you're a guy coming off your NFL Coach of the Year. You don't want to put in jeopardy a player who you have to battle and fight.
But, Bob, you're talking about a coach. Belichick, yeah, he's supposed to be the guy that's running the show.
But nobody wants him to.
Yeah, but if you want to win, that's what you're going to have to do.
But
the quarterback, he's got to listen to the.
Yeah, most quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That's
Not this guy.
I've only seen it work twice, even with the head coaches. I remember when Belichick was the first one, and who do you have at the Giants anyway? It was
Parcells.
It was Bill Parcells. He was the one that went GM and head coach. Mike Holmgren also, right? But that didn't work out so well with him. But yeah, I just don't think it works out that often, even for coaches. But the Big Tuna could do it, and Belichick could do it, and he got it, I think, honestly, from him. So
But even the Parcells, he had a GM, though. It was later when he left the Giants. He and George Young would bang heads all the time.
Yeah.
But, Parcells, I was there when he first became the head coach, and I always thought he was a good guy, but he did not have the control he had later. Yeah. When he bound from the Jets and then Cowboys and then New England. Yeah. That's when he started taking control.
Belichick was with me when I was in New England, just a good guy, I thought, because I remember one day I was just sitting.
Belichick was or Parcells?
Parcells. Yeah,
he was.
He was just this good guy. He came up to me when I first got there, and he says, "Chuck, get back to moving your feet." Just out of the clear blue. I'm like, I didn't even think the guy was noticing it, because when I was going one-on-one with the linebackers, he says, get back to what you're doing. And so, he just was that kind of guy. You never thought he was looking at everything. He was looking at me, and he's like, hey, man, get back to that thing you do.
He was a really good guy.
Really good guy. I really liked him.
All right. Well, here's the problem I have with what's going on right now is that the Vikings, with this letting Daniel Jones go, letting Sam go, do not have a legitimate backup quarterback if something happens to McCarthy.
There's enough out there you can get one.
Who? They're all gone
Flacco,
now. Everybody,
Tannehill,
come on.
Carson Wentz.
We're going to win a Super Bowl with any of those. You had
You're supposed to win the Super Bowl with
You have
J.J.
Daniel
McCarthy.
Jones here. You've had him here for the last 6 weeks. He's only getting $14 million. Tell him 15 and sit down and stay here. I mean, why would you go into this? Now you're going to go into that's how this Rodgers thing has mushroomed, because you went out in free agency, you've upgraded all these positions, and all the graders, the Pro Football Focus, all these people are saying the Vikings are now a better team today than they were at the end of the season with these additions, except at quarterback.
Yeah, because they let the guy that they developed go.
Right. So now what I'm saying is
they got to take his place. He's unproven.
They could not pay him the money, because if they had franchised him, it would be 40 to 45 million.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But
I'm saying now you should have grabbed one of these other guys that were out there that are already gone.
Jones no longer was an option when the Colts told him he would be competing for the starting job. That was not an assurance here. He would get the starting job.
He can compete against JJ because
JJ hasn't proven anything.
Right. That's what. If I'm Daniel Jones, I'd rather go after a raw rookie than Richardson. Get in there. Let's go. If you believe in yourself,
Kirk Cousins is available.
and you're going to win you have a way better shot of having a season that's going to result in something good.
Well, something
staying here than Indy.
Jones saw something in that locker room or in that culture, or in O'Connell, that O'Connell maybe is really committed to JJ, and he did not want to go through that.
Okay, the question is, do the Vikings think, with all the pieces they put together so far, that they are a Super Bowl contender with the type of quarterback that can get them there? JJ ain't that guy. Now, who would be? And we hate to say it, but guess who it is?
See,
he's in Seattle.
Well,
No, he's in Atlanta. He's in Atlanta.
We can get Kirk Cousins.
Stop. Now, you know what? Let's talk about that guy in Atlanta, because it's not done just because they said they're keeping him. They could still wind up with him and not pay nearly the value. I think that the Falcons. Well, let's talk about it. We'll take a quick break, and the JimBob Sports Jamboree. Be right back. We'll talk about Kirk Chains when we get back.
All right, but before things squared up, the season is right around the corner, if not here already, to get outside to do some home improvement projects. What do you got cooking for the folks?
Yeah, right now we're really pushing on people to get their jobs in. Our spring special, again, is still continuing. We have a 12-month, no interest, no payments financing to get in here. You don't have to wait for your tax return. You don't have to wait for that Christmas card coming from Grandma. Just sign up now, get in there quick. We'll get you your windows in before summer.
Well, and the thing is, that interest deal is huge because interest rates are astronomical right now, especially if you're taking out a home improvement loan or something like that. That could kill a project for a lot of people.
100%. Our windows are very affordable. You can save up the money in 12 months. You can pay it off early. No payments or no penalties. Just get in now before the deal ends.
How do they find you?
WindowsStoreInc.com.
And now we'll take that quick break in the JimBob Sports Jamboree. Be right back. We are back with more of the JimBob Sports Jamboree. Vikings legend Chuck Foreman, the superstar Mike Morris, Jim Rich from Fox 9. I'm Bob Sansevere, Tyler Ganz from the Window Store. This show brought to you by the Window Store. And, Jim, there's things going on in Maple Grove that people need to be aware of.
No doubt about it. Maple Grove, Bob, this is your spring break destination. And you go, what?
I can't go anywhere far, so this is perfect.
Well, and that's the thing. Airline prices going through the roof. Who wants to stand in a TSA line where you're shoved through like cattle? All they got to do is brand you, basically, is what it's like going through TSA, right? Tyler, you just went right through it? Yeah. So this is what we're talking about. Stay local and stay in plenty of action, and that begins in Maple Grove. They have the amazing Holiday Inn water park right there, so you need the water for the kids. Well, you got it right there. That's a sensational place to go. They also have the Slick City Action Park, Pints and Paddles pickleball facility, Whirlybird, and much more. And they are also having some great things going on in town. Of course, we know it's the restaurant capital of Minnesota. Over 150 different restaurants to check out, and they have got you set with all sorts of the chain restaurants, the locally owned ones, operated by your friends. Lots of things to do. They have play and stay packages available as well. Just go to experiencemaplegrove.com and you will have a sensational spring break. You'll walk home with money in your pocket, and everybody will have a blast. So once again, it's Experience Maple Grove. Let's do it.
How do I get there? Oh, wait a second. Mike can tell me if I need a new
Hey, I got my hand up.
ride.
I got my hand up in the air. I can help you with that. Call on me. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike, how do we get there?
Dodge of Burnsville. They'll put you in a car or truck, new or used, however you want it. Dodge of Burnsville in Burnsville, and you just drive past all of the different garbage dumpsters, and you head on down there, and you get yourself into a nice truck, get yourself a nice trade. They take good care of you afterwards with the service department, and so make sure that you can do that. Then you can get up to Maple Grove. My son still hasn't invited me to come up to that big carnival that you're talking about. But anyway, you can do it with Dodge of Burnsville. That'll at least get you up there.
Well, and the other thing, now spring's here, and I might have to get some shovels to bury people, and to dig some holes.
New Jersey guy.
Yeah.
For sure.
There we go.
That's what
Where
I
can
meant.
I go if I need like some hardware?
I got several places. All of them, though, are Polici hardware stores. Ace is the place with the
Okay.
helpful hardware folks, and I'm telling you right now, if you want to get into your spring projects, for instance, you have to mend the fence. You have different things going on. You're going to add onto your deck.
I'm
for
always
God's
mending
sake.
fences.
Listen, you should be behind a fence or behind bars, one of the two. But hey, this March they're going to run some specials on DeWalt tools, power tools, on $30 off of the select 20-volt DeWalt tools, and then also Craftsman, $20 off select Craftsman tools up at Ace Hardware, and 4 different locations: Zumbrota, Egan, Rosemont, and Farmington, and the Pleachies. The family that owns all 4 of those stores will be glad to help you out at all of those places. So go on in, ask for some help. They've been in business for 30-some years now, the Pleachies, at Ace Hardware stores, and tell them the Superstar Mike Morris sent you.
What is the tagline? Could I get that from you real
I
quick?
said it already. Did you? We can roll the tapes. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks.
I'll tell you what, $20 off on those DeWalt 20 volt. I'm a DeWalt fan.
$30 off on the
30?
DeWalt,
Oh.
and then 20 on the Craftsman. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely.
That stuff is good. All right. Now, we mentioned Kirk Cousins. Adam Schefter, the big shot for ESPN, he is saying that after the draft, he's foreseeing the Vikings making a deal for Kirk. Now, the thing is, they're never going to pick up the big salary. The Falcons will have to eat part of it, but after the draft, you might have some players to trade. They can trade draft picks for next year. I think that's why the Falcons held on to him, because they didn't want to give them away by just releasing them. I
Like
think
the
they,
Vikings did with Donald.
I think
Just
this could be
gave
a
him
deal
away.
that they wind up getting him back. And he knows he's the backup there. I think he'd come as a backup here. And he knows he has a chance to play. And the players, I don't think any of them hate the guy at all. Do they?
Why would they?
How could you?
I mean, the guy left for money and big money at that.
You can't blame him.
They can't blame him. They can't blame him.
Hey,
for
the
that.
guy's the smartest guy as far as making money in the NFL. What? I mean,
First
really.
guaranteed contract. Now they all get him.
He's done a great job at that, so I'm not mad at him. He can come on back because he can throw it.
There's the answer to your question. Who's going to be the backup?
Wow, that
Could live with that, right?
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins?
Kurt, what's Kurt worrying about?
Oh,
He got
Kirk is a
Kirk got-
person. As a player, Kirk is a person because he's a player. He's great. When we get down to the heat of the moment, I want JJ in there because we've all seen Kirk can't handle that hot moment. That's what I don't like about it.
What? You said you want JJ in there.
Someone to give someone else a try is my point. Under the pressure, that's where I don't like Kirk.
Under the pressure, I want Kurt in there.
Let me ask you a question. How many quarterbacks in the NFL can handle that hot moment?
That's a good question.
I mean, honestly, how many have been shown that they can do it?
Mahomes, right?
Yeah, okay.
But look
Jalen
at
Hurts did
look
this
at
year.
him in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
There are only a few. There are a handful of people in football history that really have done that extremely
I
well.
understand
That I
that-
would actually call a franchise quarterback. That not just do good and get to the playoffs and have 1 or 2 playoff wins, but don't get to the Super Bowl. That is not franchise. The franchise guys are the ones that get to the Super Bowl more often than not, and win or lose, but they get you in the money to go to the big show.
There you go.
That's huge. Yeah, to have a guy like that. Many teams don't have that guy.
Many. I mean, we haven't had one since '77 when Chuck played.
Yeah.
That's how far we've gone.
My point is, we know he doesn't have the it factor. Is my opinion. We don't know if JJ doesn't have the it factor.
Let me ask this
Yeah,
question.
but when you put all that stuff together, the offensive line and all that, why are you going to take that gamble when you got these great receivers? You just signed a couple. You got 2 really fine running backs. Got the offensive line. You're right there, just on the right there. All you need is the right quarterback, and I'm not taking that gamble with him right now.
No, I'm just saying with what we have, though, we need a backup.
Yeah,
Right.
but I don't want him to be the starter.
JJ.
No,
Why?
because he's not ready.
Really?
I do like it.
Listen, he's not like the guy that was in Washington with the Commanders last
How do you
year.
know? We haven't seen him play in the NFL.
Because, number one, the guy that would play with the Commanders, I think he's, 24, 25 as a rookie?
A little older.
Or maybe-
Daniels?
Daniels. He's a little older, a little more
Daniels,
experienced, got like 20 more games.
How many national championships he win?
Well,
JJ's won one.
well,
Out of high school.
that's college. That's college, though.
I know, but you're basing it on he's older. Just because he's older?
I'm basing it because he's not ready.
Well, it remains to be seen.
I didn't see anything at Michigan that told me that.
See, I don't think this team, the way it's been built this year, the offseason, you don't need to have the quarterback carry you. This might be. I came here in 1984. It looks like it could be the most complete team they've had since the days when you played. That's how, this defense, this could be one of the, if not the best defense in the NFL because of what they did to the interior. They've improved the secondary. They've made improvements everywhere except maybe at linebacker, but they didn't need a lot of changes there, did they?
Okay.
Think of that defensive line. We know you have a coach that loves to blitz. He won't have to blitz as much anymore with that defensive line. We saw that what that does in the Super Bowl when you don't have to blitz.
Okay.
And defensive teams, they do pretty good in Super Bowls. If you go through the list, look at the quarterbacks who've won Super Bowls because they had a superior defense. I always liked Brad Johnson, but he was not an elite quarterback.
Now you're starting to
Trent
sound like
Dilfer.
Mike Zimmer. That's what he wanted.
Well,
Trent Dilfer or Brad Johnson?
No, he didn't need
I
an elite
believe-
quarterback. He wanted a defense.
personally, I believe that if you put a young quarterback in there too soon, there's only a few Patrick Mahomes out there and Jaden Daniels out there. I'm thinking if this guy is going to be your future, then don't rush it.
But
One of
look
the
at
best things you could do, I think, would bring Cousins back in for the right money,
Yep.
and teach this guy and be there in case something happens because he definitely knows the game and the way O'Connell plays it. No question. He could definitely bring that along quicker to JJ, and then he could make, his exit.
And to your point too, I get it. I think he's young as well, but is there a better situation on any other team to bring in a newbie quarterback? Because every other department, I feel, we are stacked.
I guess that depends on whether you want to go to the Super Bowl or not.
Well, we're going to Super Bowl. I'll always play.
Wait a minute. I'm just saying you want to compete.
doing the heat too long in
now,
Costa Rica.
He might be the quarterback whisperer, but he's going to have to whisper quite a bit.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right.
He brings up a good point, though, because they beefed up the running game.
I hear you.
Something the team needed. There is everything here for somebody to succeed. He's not going to have to.
And
By the way, because Jim will never give me credit. I just started with that point, and he points to Tyler to give him a pat on the back.
He likes me better.
Yeah, that's just what it is. It's easy.
He sees clearly.
to just
He's got windows that you can see out of.
Bob.
All right.
Yeah.
I agree with you saying they put everything together. Now you got to get somebody to pull the trigger.
Now, you're against rookie quarterbacks, not against rookie starters.
Yeah.
You were the best they ever had as a rookie.
I think rookies, especially at the quarterback position, they're real. Every now and then you got a real special guy that can come in there and handle that.
Not very often.
Not very
often. Even Mahomes sat for a year.
Well, he sat for a year, but you can ruin a guy. And look at all the young quarterbacks they've ruined by going to crazy. Not crazy, but
he sat a year.
Horrible team. He didn't sit.
He did. He was hurt, but he wasn't not
He
paying.
wasn't doing anything.
Paying attention.
He was doing what you said he's doing.
He was
sitting.
learning.
He was sitting. He wasn't learning.
He was learning.
Well, okay, you got to do the learning. You got to do the physical for learning and the mental.
Yeah, no question.
Might not make sense.
You have to apply what you've learned in the classroom. You have to show us that you can do that on the
There
field.
you go on the field. There you go.
My
exactly
point is,
slow
he doesn't
down.
have to throw the ball 40 times a game. That's my point, right? Like we can win with him throwing it 20 and running 30. Can we get the coach to
agree
do
with
that?
that.
I don't know, but I just don't think he has to throw that much.
Agreed.
Well, even when he does throw that much, is he going to throw it to the right place?
Here's what he needs, Chuck. He needs to prove he's a game manager who can take the next step from beyond that.
All right.
I don't think it's going to be that tough because of how this team has been constructed. And he's right. I mean, Jordan Mason, that was a big pickup for them
Yes.
to get another running back. The only place, if you look at what they've done, I know you have a question at quarterback. The only spot that there's a vulnerability when you look at it, who's the left guard going to be? Because Mike can speak to this more than anyone, the importance of a left guard.
I would hope that Bradbury could play guard. I would hope so. But then we talked about it also a little bit earlier with Brandel is a good player. They claim that he's a good football player in the meeting room. He's a leader, which is kind of cool. That's really, we haven't heard that in a while on the offensive line. As good as a lot of those guys are up front, you don't ever hear them talk about he's the glue to that unit up there.
Yes.
And every group has one. It was either Mick Tingelhoff or Ed White or Ron Yeri. But, we had our leaders, and they were quiet leaders. Randall McDaniel. You could take someone like Gary Zimmerman. They didn't say 2 words to anybody all day long, but they were great leaders, and they led by example a lot of the time. But then you have vocal people that talk and say the right things at the right time. But we'll take that kind of player at left guard if he is that player and put the Bradbury at right guard.
No, Bradbury's gone.
Wait, no one told me that.
Yes, they cut him.
They cut him.
They cut him. He's now a New England Patriot.
He was still here. No, and waiting as a free agent still to sign or not sign. No, they cut him.
They cut him.
There you have it. Then.
Speaking of cut, we're going to cut this segment short.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Well, you got to read the fine point, but it could slip by. There's so much happening.
I thought he was an unrestricted free agent that hadn't gone anywhere yet, but still available.
Nope.
Okay.
Gone. He was under contract for this season upcoming, and when they brought Kelly in,
Understood.
They said goodbye.
So Freeze will definitely be one of those 2 guards.
He's the right guard.
And yeah.
For sure. They need the left guard. All right. Let's take a quick break. The JimBob Sports Jamboree. We got plenty more. Be right back. We are back with more of the JimBob Sports Jamboree. Vikings legend Chuck Foreman, Fox 9's Jim Rich, the superstar Mike Morris, and Tyler Ganz, the owner of the window store, which brings you this show and this segment. And I got to ask Mike and Chuck, because you both played on teams that certainly went to championship games, NFC championship games. Chuck played in 3 Super Bowls. Mike, when you played, what was the strongest part of the team you played on? Was it the offense? I mean, because you played when you had Randall Cunningham, and when you had Randy Moss as a rookie. So I'm guessing, was that the strength of it?
Oh, definitely. It was definitely the offense. We had a decent defense. Foj Fazio was the defensive coordinator, and he was a good one, I thought. But he got the most out of that defense, and it wasn't like a game-changing defense. They were good. They were opportunistic, but they were not the kind of defense that we're talking about now with Flores. They're not that kind of team at all. But the offense was enormous. That was a big offense. It was a great offensive line. The quarterback turned out to be a diamond in the rough that Denny went and got from Las Vegas. He had a marble business in Reno or in Vegas, I believe. And so he came back and he came out of retirement and had the year he had.
It was a wondrous year.
Almost MVP. And he was a great guy, Randall Cunningham. Really good teammate. And running backs were kind of a hodgepodge of, Robert Smith and Leroy Horde and several guys that kind of just made all the sense in the world. Between the tackles, it was Leroy, and if you wanted to hit something outside, go to Robert Smith. The receivers were off the charts, off the charts with Jake Reed and that guy named Carter, and then Randy Moss. That one guy named Carter.
And Moss.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that was definitely the strength of the team until we needed it most. And and then you just take a knee.
Yeah.
You shake a knee.
And just the little context, that was at the point, the most prolific scoring offense in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
And he played for overtime when it was sudden death.
And we have probably the most uncoverable third down back coming out of the backfield to make that first down. David Palmer was unbelievable. And they didn't do anything.
Why do you think did you ever get an explanation?
No one stepped up to the plate to take responsibility for taking the knee. It wasn't Brian Billick didn't say anything, and then
Billick he did not take it at all, because he was going to Baltimore, but he wanted no part of it, and just said that wasn't my call. He did say it in the locker room afterward.
No one else said it. No one else said it was.
But that one, that's
probably one of the worst decisions ever made.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think.
When you had like a minute and 12 seconds left when you got the ball. He was afraid of a turn, or I don't know what he was afraid of, or what he was thinking.
Unbelievable. And then we were lucky enough to win the toss. in overtime.
I guess I forgot you
Yeah,
wanted to
So
toss.
back then.
Oh yeah, it went back and forth.
It went back.
There
I
was
snapped
several
3 punts.
opportunities.
I snapped 3 punts.
The offense-
the prolific offense went to hell in a handbasket. And, it was just amazing to see us having to punt all night, all day long. After like the fourth quarter, that was all we did was punt.
And that was not a great team you were playing either.
They were 14-2 team.
Yeah, Atlanta was good.
But
14-2, but
They were,
I would just say this. If Denny wanted to push it to overtime, and back then the rules were if
Sudden
you get the
death.
ball, sudden death. So if you lose the toss, you essentially give the Falcons the football first, and they drive down the field and kick a field goal. They win.
Yeah.
So you just gave the Super Bowl to the Falcons.
Gave it to him.
But it's a 50-50 chance that you were going to win that toss. Unbelievable. Unreal. But he still took a knee.
so what
Someone
happened?
did.
What happened on the sidelines? I mean, did you guys react to that, or were you just in the?
That was an interesting sideline, yeah. Like, what's going on here? Killing the clock. They're taking a knee. Okay.
With the best offense in the history of the league.
Exactly.
Up to that
I'm
point.
telling you right now, there were a lot of very, very interesting
I
looks.
tell you what would have happened if our quarterback would have said, heck with that.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
Yeah, I mean, he would have.
Fran would have said,
would've
heck
done
with
that,
it.
right?
Fran would have said, no, we're not doing that. This is what we're going to.
Yeah.
He did that many a time.
Did he?
Burnsy would send something in, and he'd say, we're not running that. No, really.
Really?
Yeah, the guy would come in there, and Fran would say, we're not running that.
Should've-
Because he had a feel for the game. He knew it was going to work.
You should have done that when Brett McClanahan was given the ball near the goal line
Yeah, well,
against
that's what
Oakland in
I
the Super
said.
Bowl.
Why are you running that?
It was a minute 12.
Why?
Yeah, that's what it was a different thing. I said, well, why are you running that?
You said there was a minute 12 left when you knelt the
It
ball.
was somewhere around that, I think.
I know that we attempted the field goal that would have iced it, 10 points. I think that was at like a minute 45. I don't know what happened to the ball. It went down and back, and we had it again. I think it got
It was over
down
a
to
minute.
basically nothing.
I mean, depending on timeouts, if there was a minute 12 left on the clock, I feel confident that I'm getting the ball back as a defense at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
It was unbelievable. It really was. I don't know what happened there. And no one else does either, and no one came forward.
Right.
No one.
Well,
I don't know if it was a call from Red McCombs or no one said anything about this is why we did this. And
To this day, it obviously haunts you.
oh
Red
my
McCombs.
God, absolutely. I mean, it's just amazing how it happened. I mean, we had a running back that was a pretty intelligent guy that ran out of bounds. Stopped
all
the
right.
clock.
All right, let's not go there.
I won't say anything. I didn't say it. I'm just saying.
I'm glad this doesn't stick with you at all.
I didn't even think about it.
No.
Other people say, you ever think about that 98 NFC Championship game? No, just every 5 minutes of my life since then.
If somebody comes up to you and says, hey, man, you remember that?
Oh.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Well, I had made a prediction in print. I had predicted that the Vikings would, because this is a guy who hadn't missed a kick all year. I predicted he would miss his kick in the Super Bowl and you'd lose, and that was like going into the playoffs. I was a game off.
Wow. I would have taken that chance just to be in the
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what? I was excited because I had heard rumor that the Vikings were going to bring all the former players that played in the Super Bowl that were living here to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
That would have been fun for
That would
you.
have been great.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Well, you're going to be there regardless whenever they go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Googling the 98. I'm glad I'm on the other side of the table right now. The 98 championship game to see how much time was left when you
much
took a
time? Was
knee.
I wrong?
I've not found that part yet, but it says the Minnesota Vikings became the first team in NFL history to complete a regular season with a 15-1 record and not win the Super Bowl.
Right. Right. I think the Patriots went on to win every game and lose the Super Bowl to the Giants.
Yes, they did.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
You were only 11-point favorites in that game, and you had not lost a home game all season.
Yeah. 14-2. The Dirty Birds were 14-2 though. Dan Reeves.
Yeah, they were, and they had a good running back, the Jamal
Yeah.
Anderson. Was that
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
who it was, I think?
Yeah, and yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they were a good team.
Oh, I know.
Chris Chandler was the quarterback.
Was
though.
Brady, were you
Right,
going
because
back?
somebody was hurt. Who was?
DeBerg.
Yes, Steve
DeBerg
DeBerg
was
was
hurt.
supposed to be the
Yeah.
guy.
He was hurt. He had a broken hand. Oh my God.
Well,
Play the guy with the
it
broken
does
hand.
stand here as the proudest moment in the history of the Atlanta Falcons franchise. So,
Well,
Maybe they'll throw a parade for you on Peach Street.
no,
if you go down
actually,
there.
the proudest moment was when the owner came down on the field in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, thinking the game was sewn up. And
Yeah, I
then
remember
they
that.
blew
Oh,
the
yeah.
24
Oh, yeah,
lead.
for sure.
That was the proudest of the moments, I'm sure.
That was crazy.
Well, if you remember a player by the name of John Burrow, he came in the next season in '99 from the Falcons. He was a defensive end out of Wyoming.
Yeah.
He came in, joined the team, and became a good friend of mine. And he said, "Guess what I got in the mail today?" I said, "What? I don't know. What did you get in the mail today?" "I got a box. I know what's in the box." "What's in the box?" "My Super Bowl ring, my NFC Championship ring." They didn't win, but they got an NFC Championship ring. So he like that one. Damn it! Anyway, damn. He's got one I don't. But anyway, Burrow let me wear his ring for the first day out of the box. I said, "It's really mine. You know it's mine, right?" "John, it's mine. It should have a Viking something on there. And can I wear it the first day?" He let me wear it the first day. So that was as close as I got to that ring.
There were 49 seconds left in regulation.
Oh, I was wrong.
49.
49. The Vikings managed only 7 yards and then kneeled on 3rd and 3 to run the clock out.
I'm going to tell you right now. I put as much money as I had in the bank on David Palmer catching a pass and getting a first down, and that's the end of the game. I would. I really would.
I would have put my money on Randall running the ball.
Oh, that too.
Well, it was only 3rd down. It was only 3rd down. If you don't make it, you still could have putted away.
Points up, and they got to still run.
3rd down and 3.
He must have thought it was 4th down. I'm going to defend Denny because he's my guy.
You know what? I forgot that it was 3rd down even.
You were part of the what they call you guys
I don't
that were
know.
after him?
I don't remember.
Oh, you had some
It
names.
was me, Royce, and
Not the posse, but
What's his
something.
name? Oh yeah, and you.
me, Royce, and Barrero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's take a break. We got to take a quick break. The JimBob Spat Sports Jamboree. He'd be right back to. See, I can't even talk thinking about that game.
Yes, because of what you did. You caused it.
It was me. It was
group.
my fault.
Yes,
that he
that
took
you're-
a knee.
I
He
knew it
was
had
so
to be something.
befuddled.
Yeah.
You took a knee. That's what you
It
did.
was me. All right, we'll be right back. We are back with more of the JimBob Sports Jamboree. Vikings legend Chuck Foreman, the superstar Mike Morris, Fox 9's Jim Rich, Tyler Ganz from the Window Store. This show brought to you by both the Window Store and Maple Grove Experience. Right?
ExperienceMapleGrove.com. That is the
MapleGrove.com.
website. Spring break. Get there. Check it out. You'll love it.
Go to the water park.
Restaurant capital of Minnesota.
Yeah, you know what? You can go to the top of the water slide and take a knee. Reenact that 98
Go
game
to
if
hug
you
on
want
one
to.
knee.
Funny, I was standing on a bridge that night, ready to take a knee, not a water slide. I was standing on a bridge, ready to jump, but
That
I
held
off.
I know after game, wins, losses, players do get together. Now, I'm going to ask both of you, after that game, what did you do that night? And I want to know from Chuck, is there anything, did you do the same thing after all Super Bowl losses? You were in another town, though. Right. Mike was home.
Yeah.
What do you remember doing? Did you?
I did nothing. I mean, we went out. We were always, it's a totally different thing. You depressed.
Yeah, you could. How could you not be?
I mean, no matter where you went, you were like, wow, we played the worst football game all year.
Yeah, which is
And
three times.
And that's what we did 3 times. The best, and there's only one team that I thought was better than us,
Miami,
and that was the Miami Dolphins.
not the Steelers.
Not the Steelers. No, the Steelers I thought were just good. The Oakland I thought were just good. We just had, we down there, we score. The game's different.
Well, you're the team that started the Steelers on that their Super Bowl run, right? That was the first game.
We should have
first
beat
one
the
for
Steelers.
them.
They were not better than us. And then we come back the next year on Monday Night Football
You crush them.
and beat the crap out of them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't give out.
But they don't give anything.
rings for that.
That's right. But that I just couldn't wait until that game came just to make a statement anyway.
Yeah.
But we did make a statement, but it wasn't the right time.
No.
The wrong time. But
it's all that timing.
Mike, what about? Do you remember that
I
night?
had a lot of family up for the game. My mother, my sister, her family, my brother Pat came up from Iowa, so they were all thinking that we would win the game and go to the Super Bowl, right? So not so much. So we piled in to it was, I think, my sister's Suburban, and off we went. And we're driving down Washington Avenue, getting out of town, and I see a guy jump out of his car. We're at a stoplight. He jumps out of his car, runs up to a guy standing by a trash barrel with a fire going, with like 3 or 4 guys around the trash barrel. And he takes a knife out, and he takes it right across the guy's chest who's standing out there with purple and white paint, and he doesn't have a t-shirt on. He just goes right across his chest with it, and you see it open up.
Oh, my God.
True story. Oh. And a police officer the guy takes off, runs back to his car. His buddy drives him away, and a police car pulls out from behind us and follows. And that was the last. But I had to tell that because that's happened right after the game. And that still is in my memory. Just that watching this guy do this.
Wow.
But we went to what was it, Granite? What was the restaurant? They were like
Granite City
in Eagan. We went there on our way back to Rosemont and had a bite.
So just the guy actually came out and slashed.
He slashed him and ran back, got in his car, and another guy was driving, and they drove off.
Proof the guy doesn't bleed purple.
Wow. Truly, I was witness to that. That was
terrible.
not purple.
He says I bleed purple. No, you don't actually. That's right.
I couldn't believe that.
But, everybody, has pokes fun at Gary Anderson for missing that kick.
Wasn't his fault.
It's not even close. Like you said, the offense had the ball 3 times in overtime. You were out there. You snapped 3 times to punt the ball away in overtime. Everybody goes. It's like, now over time, it's morphed into this image that Anderson makes the kick and they lose the game.
Yeah.
No.
It was just easy.
It's not a game.
Not at all.
It was easy to pin it to him because he was automatic, right? They thought that, heck, if anything, Anderson's going to come out there and make a field goal. We'd messed the game up 3 or 4 times. Robert Griffith dropped a touchdown right here.
Yeah, the interception.
We had everything else and taking a knee and 3 possessions in overtime, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to pin it on the field goal.
Right. And then they're going, it was the snap. I'm like, really? We're going to count it all down to a whole season of being perfect, and we missed one kick, and that cost us a Super Bowl. One snap.
One snap, and that does it. I will say this. The ball feels different when you're snapping for a Super Bowl. When you get up there and you get your hands on it and you're getting ready to throw it, you don't throw it, number one. Don't throw it. That'll mess everything up. You snap it. There's a whole different game on that. So, but I felt really good if I got the ball back to my holder, which he held it, he put it down. There was no trouble at all. I mean, it wasn't high. Nothing was wrong with the snap, but people wanted to make.
They were looking for
They were looking for something there, too. And I asked Mitch when I got over the sideline, I said, what happened? What happened? Because I saw it kick right over my head, and then it just had a little soft draw to it, just outside of the left upright. And Mitch said, I didn't think he was going to come and kick it because he was late, super late, coming to get the ball. It was like a deer in the headlights. So he said, I almost wanted to look back and ask him if I had to invite him to come and kick it because he wasn't coming with it. And so but he still got it away, and it wasn't blocked, and he got a good foot on it, right? But it just drew a little bit. It's that right to left, soft. It went over my head straight at the goalpost, down the middle, and then kept banking.
Wow. You know what? Let that one soak in for the next week. All right.
I'm depressed.
All right, we got one
time too.
Let's put everybody on a happy note. Okay. Spring's coming. Winter, summer's going to be here soon. All right. Check out Maple Grove.
ExperienceMapleGrove.com.
Do that. And check out the window store.
Windows Store
Ace
Inc.
Hardware.
WindowStoreInc.com.
And Dodger Burnsville, kids.
If you type in the window store, you're going to find it. All right. And also the Ace Hardware. All right. We're going to take a quick break. It's going to last about a week. We'll talk to you next time.
On behalf of Vikings legend Chuck Foreman and Fox 9's Jim Rich, I'm Bob Sansevere. And I want to say thank you to all of our listeners and our radio partners, KXRA in Alexandria, KRWC in Buffalo, KDHL in Faribault and Owatonna, KDAL and WDSM in Duluth, WNMT in Hibbing, KTOE in Mankato, AM 660 The Bear, WBHR in St. Cloud, and Wild 102 FM in Roseau. Also, KWOA AM FM in Worthington, and KKBJ in Bemidji, and Bob Total Country serving the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and surrounding areas. We'll talk to you later.